Today we'll be pitching RIDE, a solution for accessible passenger safety. A bit about ourselves, my name's Cindy, currently senior at U of M.
My name is Michael, I'm a freshman at U of M.
And then we'll kind of go through today's agenda, talk about the problem, then introduce our solution, talk about the market overall, and then hone in on why us, conclude off with some Q&A.
Summer. What comes to mind may include the warm weather, 4th of July fireworks, and even trips to the beach, but what increasingly makes headlines is forgotten baby syndrome. Trigger warning, forgotten baby syndrome, also known as FBS, has increasingly become a pressing matter, especially during the hot summer months. According to NoHeatStroke.org, since 1998, there have been nearly 1,000 fatalities in the US alone relating to children being left in hot cars. Not only that, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, on average, a child passes away from vehicular heat stroke every 10 days.
And let's talk about Sally Green. Sally Green is your typical American mom. She's a loving wife, has 3 children, and also a puppy. She works, so she and her husband are both breadwinners and is responsible for dropping off their youngest to daycare every day. And this will become pertinent in a couple of slides, but she drives a bit of an older car, so 2009 Hyundai Sonata, and she still kind of feels stressed, so taking care of the kids and then also having to go to work every day. And you could be Sally Green, you could know a Sally Green, and we'll kind of talk about use cases for when the child could be forgotten in the car. So this one is the one that makes headlines the most, but when going to work, the parent might accidentally skip the daycare location, drive directly to their destination, and the child is left in the back, especially when they're sleeping. Second case is oftentimes going for a grocery run. It might be for quick grabbing eggs or milk, but it might become longer when you see some of the sales, you bump into someone you know. And then final use case is we actually learn about this through innovation and action, but for example, when you're unloading groceries in the car and your child has to be sleeping, you may leave them in the back and not realize until later. Thankfully, it was during the colder months and the child was all right. So let's talk about our solution RIDE here. So the first screen that we have is kind of a family account setup for our RIDE, where so under the family, you're able to be designated as a driver, such as the mom and dad or passengers. And it's very easy to add new members using the green button at the top, and then once the count is all set up, and you can just go for any rides you want, which is done through the blue button at the bottom. Once clicking start ride happens, the next is kind of the screen that introduces you to every new ride. So it's going to have this kind of checklist of all the passengers below kind of the bubble of the driver, and it'll ask who you're riding with today. And then of course there might be some times when, for example, you're pressed for time, you're about to be late for work, and you don't really want to go through the checklist. Then we want to have a feature that has a voice activated checklist, so you automatically say yes, for example, when Anna's name is read off, or no when George's name is read off. And this voice activated feature should kick off once motion is detected in the vehicle after 3 minutes. So let's ride, and we'll hit the blue button at the bottom. So then this is kind of the final screen that shows up during the ride, shows the driver and who are the passengers riding today. And this will be the screen that greets the user until the complete ride button is hit at the bottom. And of course, we have a text reminder above that, just reminding users to make sure to to check the back seat and complete their ride when they're done. Okay, so what if the ride is never stopped? What if that blue button is never hit? It keeps going. So I guess these are kind of the options for stopping a ride. So first is once the car is stopped, the user should go ahead and mark complete, the ride is complete. But if that doesn't happen, we want to have a feature that after 10 minutes, a push notification is delivered to that user, just reminding them to go back to the car and check the back seat, make sure to mark the ride is complete. That still goes unanswered, so 20 minutes after initial detection of stop movement, then we want to have a phone call made to the user, just because sometimes we might miss post notifications, but most of us do have our ringers on. So this will, again, tell the user to go back to check their car, back seat, just mark the ride as complete. And if that still goes unanswered after 30 minutes since initial detection of the car stopping, then this will trigger a call to the authorities. So kind of the competitive landscape, what are current solutions that people rely on? The first is in newer car models, seat weight sensors are found. So for example, it might beep if it detects that there's weight on the back seats. However, this is not accessible to many Americans since this is only found in cars produced in the most recent couple of years. Second are seatbelt clip monitors, but again, the barrier of access is cost, and furthermore, batteries that could be a hazard in summer months and could explode. And then final, while kind of a solution that we actually found through a parent forum is placing your shoes in the back seat, but when driving, this poses a risk as driving with socks or barefoot, you have less traction on brakes. Okay, so customer reach, we've talked about kind of targeting American families first and how many of them are there. There's 6.7 million American households that have children between the ages of 3 and 5. And then this kind of the market is even greater when we factor in families that have infants, so between the ages of 0 and 2. 260 million cars registered in 2015. So these are all cars that the large majority don't have that weight sensor technology, and many of them are still being driven around. And then finally is targeting the pet owner segment as well, just because they can be left behind in the backseat as well. And my computer professor actually told me about how when his family was doing an ice cream run, they accidentally left their dog in the backseat for too long, and he was visibly panting by the end.
Simply put, we're all humans and our memory have shortcomings. Simple mistakes can lead to fatal, irreversible consequences, but we aim to use impact-driven technology to prevent such occurrences. Here at RIDE, we aim to provide a solution to forgotten baby syndromes that is accessible to vehicle owners all over the world. And thus, we ask that you join us along the ride to better passenger safety. Thank you, and we will now open the floor to questions.